I picked 6 places because they're the primary places where you have the big congestions to begin with. So you always start at number 1. Always. Okay? Number 1 is the drain. It's the collarbone. Both sides. Left side and right side. As long as you
Left
do
has a
both.
higher concentration of lymph nodes. Is that correct?
Lymph drainage goes, most of the lymph drainage goes to the left side of the neck. Approximately 75% out of 100% goes to the left side collarbone. The remaining 25% goes to the right, but you always have to clear both because those pressure mechanisms play off of each other.
If you were to choose one side to start with, would it be wiser to choose the left because of that, or does it not make a difference?
It really doesn't make a difference, honestly, but I would, because one, it's closer to your heart, right? And it's where most of it drains to. So the only rule that I have is if you start on the right, you better do the left.
Yeah.
If you start on the left, you better do the right. And you can spend as much time in that area as you feel you want to open it up just by rubbing that. And then, direction wise, I don't care.
And you could do both simultaneously?
You can, but I don't often do that for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
If people start pressing in there harder, then you can have compression in areas there with blood flow, and I don't want to compromise both of those at the same time.
Okay.
It's really hard to do both sides on your own without tensing up the body when you do it.
Right.
So I'd rather you just relax and then feel what one side is giving you. And that allows you the opportunity to take the free hand that's not rubbing to move your shoulder around. You can elevate your shoulder a little bit, and which is a good idea because when you elevate your shoulder up, you open up the drain a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you turn your arm in, you turn it out, you move it around like this. You just get some movement in there. Yeah. And you can even move your head around a little bit. I like to rub in circles, spirals, rotations. You just got to open up the drain. I tell people you can make hieroglyphics there. I don't care what you do. just rub it. And then that's the drain. So I'd rather you spend more time there than other places because it's really important. And then you go to the other side, right? And notice, do you feel a difference with, man, this side feels a little bit tighter? And one of the universal signs of body fluid stagnation is a lot of puffiness above the collarbone. That's a telltale sign. If I see that, I know someone is struggling with years of poor fluid flow and they need work yesterday, like quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's a big one.
Okay.
And it's
above
easy
and below
to
the clavicle on both of these, right?
Say that again, please.
Above and below the clavicle, the bone.
Yeah, I go above and below. The reason I go below is because there's a muscle that sits underneath there called the subclavius below the clavicle that gets really, really tight. And then that influences a huge nerve that controls breathing in your diaphragm called your phrenic nerve. So it doesn't, not necessarily control, but when it's tight, it influences the nerve. Put it that way.
Amazing.
So it'll change your breathing pattern.
Cool. I already feel a little bit more cleared up just from working on both my collarbones.
Yeah. Yeah. Underneath the collarbone is a place where not many people go. And that one you have to put a lot of pressure on.
Yeah.
You got to get underneath that collarbone pretty good. And so that's number 1. Okay. Now, number 2 is in the neck, and it's the largest lymph node in the neck. So it's the largest toilet in the neck. It's on the side of the neck, on both sides. Don't rub both sides at the same time. You're going to be right behind the angle of the jaw, below the lobe of your ear, right at the top. And if you know anatomy, it's next to cervical 1, cervical 2, atlas and axis. Right there is the node. And this is the one that many people will feel like really puffy and swollen on. And you'll do either side there one at a time. Same thing. Circles, spirals, rotations, just like that. Because, see, when you opened 1, 2 already started to drain towards 1 because you opened 1. Now you're going to assist number 2 to go down even more. And now that you know that 2 is trying to go down to 1, well, then if you want to do even more, just rub right down from 2 to 1, just like this. Just rub straight down.
Can I do both rubs down, or you say noted both at the same time?
You can, but you got to be careful, everybody, because your carotid arteries sit there.
Oh, you don't want to like
I don't want you to press, because some
naked
people
yourself.
Yeah, until they understand about pressure, they can choke them off and then they'll pass out. So you just do one at a time until you understand pressure. Okay. I don't want you to go lights out when you do it.
Unless you're into that.
Well, some people are, man.
Yeah.
But whatever makes you in that perceived safe space, you're good.
Exactly. All right.
So that's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then now 3 is going to be at the shoulder joint right here. Now that's a big one, because that's called the axillary / pectoral. And if you know of anyone who's suffered with breast issues, implants, explants, or cancer, this area takes a hit, big hit.
Yeah.
And so that's the area just in front of the shoulder and up underneath, kind of along the pec, underneath inside the armpit a little bit. Now, you want to know, I'll tell you something that's really cool, just because it's cool. They found that in the brain, they have the beta amyloid proteins.
Yeah.
Up in here. One of the areas that they found the greatest gathering of the amyloid proteins from in the body is in the axillary region.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why would that be?
Well, because it's a whole connected system. And then you have a lot of them here. They're going to influence the drainage from the brain. Because what you need to understand is that if you're blocked in pressure here, you're blocked where?
Right.
Up here. So the body's got to find a way to get it somewhere.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's just all these pipes connect. They change names, but they connect with each other.
And the beta amyloid plaque stuff has been contentiously associated with the development of Alzheimer's and cognitive decline and things like that. I've heard back and forth about all that, but
yeah. That's why you can't just look at the brain when you have brain inflammation. You have to look at the thing that the brain is sitting on top of.
Yeah, and probably the most important thing a person could do for that, other than a lot of things, would be sleep. That's like a big opportunity for the lymphatic system and that circulation.
Yeah, so it's supposed to move when you sleep, and the operative word is supposed to. So what happens if your toilets are stuck in your neck? I don't care how long you sleep.
Right.
You're right back where you started from.
That's good. Okay.
So that's number 3. Work both sides, right? Then, because 3 is now going to go to where? 1.
Back to 1, yeah.
3 goes to 1. And you already opened 1. So 1's like, bring it. It's good. Back it in. I'm good. Okay. Now, number 4 is the whole belly, the whole abdomen, right? So put your hands on your abdomen. Yeah, I like to go navel and above, and rub the ever-living hell out of that thing.
I'm going to sit up for demonstration purposes.
Yeah. Well, if I had a 6-pack like yours, I would too.
I'm not going to pull the 6-pack out. That'd be a little much.
Yeah. So you rub. So when you do this one, you want to start a little higher, right? So start higher. Why do you want to start higher?
Where the main.
Yeah, because you want to go from high pressure to low pressure. You start high and you work low. And you go down and you work in between the bottom of the sternum and go a long time around the navel. And you can massage this any way, everybody. You can use your fingers like Aaron's doing. You can stack your hands on top of each other and press them in. You can, I like to use vibration massage balls on the abdomen. And in Qigong and Eastern medicine, they have you belly slap 50 times. Yep.
And probably would make sense to find places of density and prioritize those places, I would imagine. Or maybe start with places without, but acknowledge those places of density when you're working with the stomach. I'm asking.
Yeah. So let me show you this. So put a finger in your belly button and then put another finger at the top of your abdominals just below your sternum, right at the top. So it's right at the top of the rectus abdominis. You see that distance? Put your finger in the halfway point. That's roughly where your cisterna chyli lives, right there.
Okay.
Now that's usually where you're going to find the greatest tension is from that space down.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be hard, like you're pressing into a wall or even like a softball.
Yeah.
That means you got backed up lymph in my world.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be really soft and smooth, and I should be able to get in there no problem.
A way that could be supportive, I've found with working with clients to get into this area in particular, because oftentimes you'll find this to be really dense and it's a source for a lot of different things. And when it releases, suddenly everything starts to work a lot better. Is bringing the spine into flexion to kind of soften this area as opposed to working on it like totally splayed out.
Yeah.
Do you disagree with that or do you agree with that?
Yeah. I want people to play around with comfortable positions for you. A lot of times side lying works well.
Right.
Lying on the back, knees bent, feet flat, head supported. That works well too.
Yeah.
That's a time for exploration, really. Okay. And spend a pretty good amount of time in there. And you're really going to work your vagus nerve at the same time, which is great. But I'm going to give you a little tip. When you did spot 1 and you did spot 2, you also work the vagus nerve because that's where it goes.
Yeah.
So I gave you a double win right there.
Yeah.
Now, spot number 5 is the inguinal lymph nodes at the crease of the groin where the pant legs crease when you sit.
Yeah. We'll see if this works.
Yeah, the whole thing, from all the way out to all the way in, and just feel along the line. And this one I like to rub in circles, and I like to go kind of up and down wherever. These you can do at the same time because this blood flows deeper. But that's a big, big, big blood flow restriction spot in the groin. Huge.
Cool.
Yeah, and just like that, you just all I need you to know is you should rub around the groin. How you do it is up to you.
Yeah.
And then the last one is spot number 6. That's behind the knee, called popliteal, the crease of the knee. Just rub right behind the knee itself. There you go. And you can do little slaps and taps if you want. I give people that option too. That's also a massive blood flow restriction point.
Yeah.
And they call that in Eastern medicine the back pain point because it'll help alleviate low back pain. I think it's urinary bladder UB40, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I could be wrong, but that's the spot that you get. And so that's your 6, right? So you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to give you a little extra. What you might find helpful, especially if you've been really backed up for a while, is go back and rub number 1 again, because sometimes number 1 needs to be reopened to take all the stuff that came from the lower body up. Does that make sense? So you can revisit 1 if you feel you need to. And so you got those clusters open. And then now what you do is you move your body. And I tell people great options are if you have a trampoline, that's great, like a mini trampoline. But you also have built-in trampoline rebounders, and they're called calf muscles. And those are the pumps that move the vein fluid back up towards your heart from your feet. And also you have what's called a plantar venous pump. That's a big fancy word to say the bottom of your foot has veins that need to pump up too. So whenever you bounce up and down on the balls of your feet, you pump the fluid from your foot to the calf. But here's my question. Where's that fluid trying to go? To the collarbone.
Yeah.
And then guess what? You cleared the knee, the groin, the belly, and the neck so it can get there.
Yeah.
That's what I need you to know. Because you didn't just clear lymph. You cleared the blood flow routes at the same time. And then the nerves that travel along that are going to be really freaking happy. Why? because nerves hate it when they don't get blood flow and oxygen. And when nerves aren't happy, they're going to tell you, because they're going to send you this thing called pain. They don't like it.
Yeah.
And that nerves need to glide. When you move, they got to slide in the tissues. And when you have all that tension and inflammation in there, they can't slide. And then you get compromised in the blood flow, and then pain shows up.
Amazing.
That's how it works, right? And so you do that. You jump up and down. You go skipping is a great one. I tell people to skip, and make sure you breathe right. Close your mouth. Put your tongue at the roof of your mouth, the tip, the middle, and the back. Breathe in and out through your nose. Congratulations, you are now rock star status. You have elevated yourself up to completely shift your physiology and change how you heal.
Incredible.
Like you would not believe. And here's the thing. That is so simple to do, but it's unbelievably powerful. I have people that message me and said, Doc, I mean, come on, man. Really? I mean, that's so simple, and it actually looks a little silly. I'm like, I don't care if it looks silly, and I don't care if it looks simple, because who the hell said effective things have to be complicated? Because there's a lot of stuff going on there. I just spent you 90 minutes telling you why it works. So in essence, it's one of the most powerful things we're ever going to do from a physiological standpoint.
Amazing. Thank you so much, man.
I
feel like this is, and for people listening, we'll take that clip from the Big Six and put that on the YouTube specifically. And also, obviously, this whole conversation's on YouTube. So if you want to see, I just demonstrated the whole thing with.
Good job, man. You nailed it. That's good.
It was really complicated, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's complex algebra, right?
A lot of complex stuff. Yeah.
I just want to tell people, don't mess up the numbers. It's 1 through 6, not 6 through 1. Yeah. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not the other way around. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And the one thing I also want to tell people is this: it looks really simple, but I said it's very powerful, because when you do this, you're going to shift a lot of things in the body, and you might feel a little bit worse before you feel better, because you're now starting to get that stuck muck out, and then your immune system now has to bag and tag those things. So a lot of those symptoms are going to come out to eliminate those things now. So that's normal. Don't freak out. It's okay. Just make sure you drink a lot of water. You want to stay hydrated, and don't do the Big Six again until you start to feel a little bit better, which could be a day, 2 days, 3 days, or up to a week. But eventually, I want you to get to a point where you can do that every single day of your life. Then You'll be a hashtag beast mode monster.
Love that. Thank you so much. I really enjoy getting to have these conversations every couple of years. Hopefully we keep the rhythm going, maybe make it more concentrated.